Hello and howdy, folks. A couple nights ago, I watched the new film from Sarah Polley, Stories We Tell. Or maybe it's The Stories We Tell. Or is there another word in there? The Stories We All Tell. No, I think it's The Stories We Tell. I enjoyed it. I have no problems giving it a 9. I think it's excellent. I don't feel that I have much to say about it. I think it's kind of new and fresh and unique. It's challenging in a way. It's kind of experimental. That's what I would mean by challenging. You know, it's slightly experimental. You know, I haven't really seen a film like it. I mean, not in my memory. Perhaps there are films like it, but I haven't seen them. It's basically a documentary. You know, definitely has filmed elements, but it's a documentary. It's kind of like the ultimate Christmas card letter. You know how every Christmas you get pictures of families and then an updated letter of what they've been doing that year and how everyone's doing. In a way, it was kind of like the most in-depth, descriptive Christmas card letter you could, ever hope for. It's basically a documentary, an in-depth retelling of family history, in particular, the birth of herself, Sarah Polley. I don't feel that I'm spoiling anything, as it's kind of a matter of public record. I'll keep the secrets of the film, but of her life, I don't think I need to. She is, the youngest daughter of a family. She was, and the father of the family is not her father. Her mother had a affair when she was actually, I guess several affairs, as she was acting away from the home and the family, working, I guess. And so Sarah Polley is the result of one of those love affairs. She found out throughout her life that her dad was not her father, and that she wanted to set out and discover who her actual father was. So it's about the exploration of roots and family. I think what's most unique about this, what gives it its power, is that all family is important. Every family is important. If you had the money and the time and the skill, you could make anyone could make a film like this about their own family, and it would probably be just as spectacular. You just haven't done it. In a way, I kind of think this might change things. This might be such an important film. I get that it's important, just because I think it's kind of first. I think like wealthy families, I think we'll have this done now. People who can afford it, and even people who can't afford it, just have the time and the skill to do it. I think that this will become like a new trend to make living histories of the family while they're there to do it. Because that's basically what it is. It's about Sarah Polley and the search for her father, but it's really about the story of this family. She basically starts the film by asking each of her interviewees, which are her brothers and sisters and close family and friends, to tell the entire story of their parents' love. So you're getting the ancestry, the heritage, You're getting the full story of how, they meet and fall in love and produce a family. And it's as simple as that, but it's as complex and as beautiful as that. It's about life. It seemed to be like many things at one time. I don't know if I fully fleshed out this thought yet, but it's that's what I'm trying to say. It's like simple while being complex. There's some new, there's just some trickery. There's some really good filmmaking. There's some really smart filmmaking going on here. And this is what I don't want to spoil, because this is something that I didn't realize at first, but then it has to do, even by saying one word, it kind of spoils it. But recreations. Many documentaries have recreations to help you, visualize the event. I'll just put it this way. You don't know that you're always watching a recreation, and I really am trying to tiptoe around that, because it's one of the big rewards of watching the film. Because the home videos, it's basically, an assemblage of just people talking heads. People, the father has written this down. He's a writer, and has written down his own story in kind of like a, story form. So he reads it in like a studio booth. So that's not necessarily an interview. He's just telling his story, in the long form. And so intercut with those interviews and just readings are home videos, home footage of everyone growing up. Or is it? That's what makes it interesting, is that you start out and it really puts you there with the family, and you feel like you're kind of one. You see everyone younger. But then as the film goes on, and they're talking about more and more complex events, they still have home video footage, and this is a family of artists and of filmmakers, and I believe that there were always cameras around, but all of a sudden, I was just thinking to myself, how would they have a camera there? Why would they think to have a camera, there in that situation? It just seemed like, wow, they really must have filmed all of their lives. They must have been, obsessed with technology and film. But then as things went on, I got it. I'd like to think that I'm not going to say that I figured it out, but I got what they were doing before the big reveal. And the big reveal is not the end of the film. There's a good, epilogue after that. Perhaps you could even call it the entire third act, comes after that big reveal. But when you realize what they've done, I think it really, that's why, it's tough to call it just a straight documentary, is because there's a lot of quality filmmaking, going on here. There's a lot of, manipulation in a way. So that's cool to me. I think that's cool. I thought the film was excellent. The cinematography was great. When it needs to take you to a time and place, it really takes you there. The story is fascinating. That's what it is you're just listening to the story of a family that you have no association with, and yet, being that intimate, and having, nothing between you and an audience, but the truth, it just makes you feel a part of the family. It makes you feel there. It makes you feel like you belong. And I think that's what shows you, is you can do that with any family. You could make an hour and 40-minute film over the history of any family on any street in the world, and you would probably be moved. I mean, of course, there's a lot of innate skill and filmmaking technique going into this, but I'm saying is you could have done it with any family, and you could have had that same kind of impact, because all it is an outsider being given the most intimate access into a family and that history of the family. And I think just knowing nothing and then being told everything is fascinating, and you'd get wrapped up in any family. And so I think that's what I mean by start a new trend. Is I think people can do this to create a living document of their family, and I think it's kind of brilliant, because you have basically like 6 different perspectives. I want to say maybe it was even 7, up to 7 different perspectives telling the same story, and from that you get some essence of what actually happened, of the truth. Maybe you don't get it straightforward, but you definitely get a sense of it. I think, the film actually talks about that. The film talks about its own themes, which I think also kind of sets it apart. But, is there a truth? Is memory that malleable that, once something happens, does it exist anymore? Does it exist in that form, or does it exist solely in your mind, the way that happened, even if it's not the way that it happened? But by, combining all of these different elements, all of these different perspectives, no one's the same. No one's the same. Even, brothers and sisters who have spent their life, together as family, retell the story the same way. And so by getting everyone's opinion at the same time, you get your best shot at knowing what actually happened. And I think that's, interesting. I thought a lot about my own family. I think you would, watching a film like this. It's about love, basically, love and togetherness. So you walk out, not only, knowing that you saw something new and something fresh, but you also walk out, feeling uplifted. And, such a lovely story, that was. And how much, you should value your own family. Some say family is everything. I don't really know what else to say. I was just thoroughly impressed, in every aspect. It looked fantastic. It was, rich and intelligent and heartfelt. It was emotional. It was very simple. It was just simple. It was just delightful. It was just delightful. I don't really know what else to say. I think it's important. I think it's definitely one of the best films of the year. Again, it's tough to call it a documentary, but I have no doubt that this is a best documentary competitor at the end of the year. Again, it's I just kind of want to call it a film, but I guess it is a documentary, and it's one of the better ones I've seen, and it's definitely new. It's definitely fresh, and I think it's going to change things. I think that you'll see a lot more intimate portraits like this of family. And again, the recreations, I think maybe I can kind of see where Errol Morris, she could have taken that, because Errol Morris does a lot of recreations that are, so perfect. You think that, wow, you know, what were they doing filming that back then? How did they know that this was a significant event? So maybe that's not like so much too original, just because, again, I think that Errol Morris does that, and maybe some other people that I don't even know. But the way she did it, and it was just so sly, I just thought it was fantastic. You know, even though I kind of got it, because it just seemed impossible that there would be cameras at some of these events that they show. But it's like not too long after that, they know that, you know, that the observant viewer is probably knowing what's going on. But soon after, it's a funeral, you know, and they have like home video of a funeral, and I'm like, who brings home video equipment? And especially, you know, at that time, whatever, the late 80s, you know, who brings recording equipment to an intimate family funeral? And I, you know, started to slowly, in that scene, it was just like, wait a minute. And then, like, soon after that, maybe 10 minutes after that, is the reveal of what's been happening the entire film. So I was just, like, totally impressed by that. I thought it was really, really clever, and, again, showed us, you know, an astute talent in filmmaking. I think this is Sarah Polley's second film. Her first documentary, even though it is, you know, follows a narrative. Her first film, Away From Her, I've never seen. You know, she's very talented. I wonder, you know, she's just spent her life being an artist. You know, she's just spent her life being an artist. She was raised by artists, and, you know, has, again, spent her life following the arts. So I think that's, you know, she's really honoring her tradition, you know, honoring her heritage. So I think that's fantastic. It really just, the film is fantastic. It's really good, and definitely one of the better films of the year. I hope it goes to more places. It's not showing on too many screens here in Los Angeles, so I don't know if it's getting too much attention, but I definitely think it deserves it, and it's, you know, high quality, and just totally new, you know, just fresh and good. You know, you just want everything to be fresh. And this definitely is. So there you go. I think I've rambled on long enough. It's just a fantastic film. It's The Stories We Tell, and I give it a solid 9. Definitely one of the best pictures of the year. Thanks.